I got busy talking and then I missed my cue. Yeah, did you miss your cue? I missed my cue. Don't miss your cue. You can't live life without a cue, and I missed mine. All right, I'm getting settled in. It's Monday. Give me a break. I just woke up. That's not true. I've been up for a little bit. Oh my God, there's so much stuff to do in here, and there's so many things to talk about. I don't even know where to begin, and most of it has to do with, I don't want to spend all day on Israel. I think that's covered a bunch. If there's some new take, if there's some new thing to speak about, I will. But for right now, I think we pretty much got the center of the opinions. Everyone's divided in my country. Welcome to the World Show, the United States, 10 o'clock Los Angeles time, and we're beginning to look at the division. Yeah, everybody's divided over here. I mean, I can understand East Coast not liking West Coast. I can understand Disneyland not liking Disney World. I can understand the Dodgers not liking the Yankees. But then when it comes to something important, we find ourselves divided again, and right down the middle. I hate it. I hate it with a passion, but there's nothing I can do about it. You know why? Because nobody asked me. Nobody came up and said, hey, you know what? Before we make any decisions here, we thought we'd give you a call, because I could have straightened a lot of this out. I would have made it real simple for everybody. I will tell you that one thing that the biggest thing right now that bothers me the most, if there's something that bothers me the most about this, and it is above the dying and the murder and the rape and the war. I'm not talking about that specifically. I'm talking about here in my country. I'm not sure if this is going on in England. I'm not sure if this is going on in Europe. I'm not sure if Germany's having the same problems we are. But the thing that bothers me the most on the home front about this is people lying. It's people denying what's going on. That blows my mind. You know, it's if you can imagine someone walking up and saying, these people were attacked, these people were murdered, these people died. Here's picture, here's video. Here's some eyewitnesses who were there. And then to have someone on the other side say, no, that didn't happen. No, it's very rare that you see someone who blatantly will deny. You think they're all politicians. Politicians in my country do this all the time. You can show a politician proof of something, and they pull back. No, that's not true. I don't really get quite. I'm not really sure about it. And they move on, and they start the same stuff again, right down the street, at the next block, at the next corner. They're saying the same stuff. That's politicians. These are actual, just regular people that you present them physical evidence, witness testimony, you show them pictures and video, and they still say, nah, you're full of shit, you're lying, didn't happen. No, it didn't happen, because they're on the side of Hamas, they're on the side of terror. That's the part that bothers me the most right now. You want to get me angry? That's the way to do it. I don't understand how you can be presented with evidence and you just push it down here, overlook it, and you go right on saying the same things you were saying before. You show the same pictures, you show the same video, your version, you show all the same stuff you were, even when you say, whoa, it's not true. It's not, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't say that anymore. It's a lie. Don't show that anymore. It's a lie. Don't present that side. It's inaccurate. And we've proven it. We've shown it. There's over, and they just quietly push it down and go right back to what they were doing before, saying the same things, never even slows them down. I hate that. That just infuriates me to no end. I'll tell you why. Imagine if some guy let's say we're at the marketplace, walking around, some guy comes up and punches my wife in the face, breaks her nose, knocks out a tooth, mouth is bloody, my wife falls down backwards on the pavement. Okay? Crowd's there to see it. I go rushing over, I grab the guy, and I just start to pummel him to no end. One, I'm angry. Two, I'm definitely seeking revenge and justice. You're going to get your ass kicked for this. And then some of you walk in and go, hey, let's exercise a little restraint here. Let's calm down. Can we have a little, hold on. Now, I know what happened over there, but hold on. And you stop and you're holding this guy by the shirt and you're punching him going, what the fuck are you talking about? Why am I stopping? Why am I slowing down? Why is there, if I don't do this, this fucker's going to get up and do it again. What are you talking about? Well, then people come up, now I know you're beating on this poor man, but let's think of all the hundreds of years of white oppression that may have caused this very moment. And I'm going to grab that. What the fuck are you talking about? What oppression? This guy hit my wife. I'm going to beat the shit out of him. What is no? Let's go back in time and let's peace, slow, analyze it. You're out of your fucking mind. If I don't stop this guy, he's going to do it again. And the more these assholes keep telling me not to defend my wife, not to stop this guy who hurt my wife, now I'm starting to think you guys are the fucking problem too. It's a big division. I could go on with this analogy. I'm getting angry. I'm physically getting upset. But that's a lot what it's like. That is a huge amount what it's like for me. I know I got a dumb mechanic in the middle of the desert using $3 words. I got it. I'm not the sharpest guy on the internet. I'm not the sharpest guy on TV. I got it. All right. I know that half the people that tune in and have a smug look on their face because they're smarter than me and they look down upon me. I got it. I'm okay with that. I'm fine with my place in life. But I'm also okay with the morals and values that I have in my head and in my heart. And I will not tolerate someone hurting my wife, and then I will not tolerate some asshole telling me to slow down and show restraint, and then to compile it with a group of people going, now let's look at the oppression of 400 years. You're out of your fucking mind. But that's exactly what you guys are doing to Israel. And then when someone says, well, the guy did get hit. Look at I got a picture of the woman on the ground. Well, is that really even her? Maybe you just took that picture off the internet. No, I was there at the marketplace, and the dude's, the general's wife, she got hit. I saw it. Yeah, did you? I don't think so. I think you're lying. It's absolutely unbelievable. So the divide in my country is strong and it's real. Now, I want you guys to know something. I did the math. Not in my head. I used a calculator because I'm not that bright. Remember? Good. Glad you're coming along with me. And hundreds of thousands of protesters and even 1 million people not protesting in the street, but still very much anti-Jewish, anti-Israel. That's not a division down the middle of my country. I should never say that again because it's not true. The middle would be 125 million or so against Israel and 125 million for Israel. If we got 300 million people in this country, plus 300 million plus, and you have 1 million people that are anti-Israel, anti-Semitic, anti-Jew, then you have 299 million that are for Israel, that we love them and we support them and we're there. So when I say it's divided, it's very divided. But as usual in my country, the minority, they're the loudest. They're on TV. Do we have 300,000 people protesting and marching for Israel? No, that'd be quite impressive, wouldn't it? That would say, well, wait a minute, you got this. It looks like pretty equal teams here. You get 300,000 in the streets against and 300,000 for, but we don't do that. We don't get out there and we don't rally 500,000 people to combat what they're saying on the left. We don't rally. We just go about doing our business correctly and support correctly. And we send them money, we send them prayers, we send them love and support, and we send them weapons. We do the right thing. And if it came down to it, we would send soldiers over there. We're not going to let this go away. Not in favor of that, but it can happen. I don't want you to think for 1 second the rest of the world as you look at the news, as you look at CNN and MSNBC, and they look at these hundreds of thousands of, it's nothing. It's a drop in the bucket. They're all organized and very visual like they always are when they say, we got all these people protesting the Supreme Court about abortion. Look at hundreds of thousands. Yeah, it's nothing compared to the millions that are on the other side of the argument. Remember that, rest of the world and Denmark. Trying to get you to realize some perspective on that. So back to what I was saying about this country and the division, just remember, and I'm going to quote Bill Clinton here. God, I can't believe I'm quoting Bill Clinton, but I'm going to quote Bill Clinton. He said a few things that I very much hung on to in my head as everyone tunes out. I said Bill Clinton and everyone, click, move on to the next station. One of the speeches he gave, he said, there is nothing wrong with America that can't be fixed by what's right with America. Remember that? So let me put it in perspective for those of you who might have fumbled your way into this channel. Nothing that's wrong with America that can't be fixed by what's right with America. You're what's wrong with America. I'm what's right. And I got 100 million people that think the same way I do. Don't think it's just me. I'm not by myself, although if I had to be, I would be. There's a bunch of people that'll stand shoulder to shoulder with me and tell you how you're behaving is wrong, that you're lying is wrong. And I'll tell you what, you guys run around and you cuss and you scream and you got your little posters and you pull down all the paper. Please keep doing that. Now we know who you are. Keep pulling those papers down off the buildings, off the telephone poles, off the streetlights. Keep pulling them down because everything is getting captured on video. We know exactly who you are. And you're what's wrong. You're absolutely what's wrong with my country. Now, we'll get to you later. We got some issues to take care of over there in the Mediterranean. So let me look between the sheets before I get yelled at. Dun, dun, dun. Note, Disney Mama Sammy Joe is in. Well, I think we should announce every time Sammy Joe shows up. And from this point on, anytime Sammy Joe shows up to a live stream, she's now one of our newest moderators, we should all take a moment and go, well, Sammy Joe's arrived. The show can begin. Oh, yeah, she's not blue. Well, I just have to figure that out. I don't know if I can make her blue or not. Dum, 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 dum. Well, you said she's not blue, so I'm looking to try to find her. Just scroll up through the comment section. Nope, couldn't find it, so move on. Oh, my God, I moved on, and she said, just post Disney Mom Sammy Joe. All right, good Lord. Sammy Joe is one of our... oh, they changed it. Won't let me do it anymore. Oh, there it is. Managing moderator or standard moderator? Well, I'm just going to go with standard because if I make her managing, she's over Lionheart. Oh, that would piss him off. All right, she's a standing moderator. Everyone can welcome Sammy Joe. She earned the rank as a moderator last week and joined the staff of Gen X Talks. Mrs. 4 Watt in 1 year. You always know when the room is classy because Mrs. 4 Watton shows up. She brings an element that raises the level of this program just by being in the comment section. Mrs. 4 Watton 1 year gifted 5 Gen X Talks memberships to Kevin Grimes, Daryl Walton, Jacob Paris, Walter Scott, and Tina V. You can all now go peek behind the curtain in the community section. There's 3 years of stuff you haven't seen before. Michael Dawson 1 year member. What about the side of Palestine? Well, Michael Dawson, what about the side of Palestine? You see, you get into a trap because everyone will say, this is the argument I get into all the time at street level. And if you don't go back biblical and you just keep it at street level, you could say everything was kind of going along status quo, not great, rockets every now and then, but no invasions on either side. Then all of a sudden Hamas attacked. Israel is now punching back, and everyone goes, well, what about Palestine? What about the Palestinians? All right. So let's clarify that real quick. Not every Palestinian supports Hamas. So what do you do with that? What do you do with that information? You want to go in there, Israel's going to go in and crush Hamas. Fine. They're going to kill Hamas. Fine. They're going to push Hamas to the sea and throw them out into the ocean. I'm fine with that. Go ahead. Now, what do you do about the Palestinians living in the Gaza Strip? Some of them do support Hamas and hate Israel. Some of them don't care for Israel, but they're not supporting Hamas. They're not trying to be violent. So now you have 2 million of them living there, and you have to determine, what do you do? Sit everyone down, interview them, try to figure out who's the good guys, who's the bad guys, who was supporting, who wasn't supporting? That's tough. You have no idea. I have no idea. Do you have an idea? The problem is that you have Israel and you have Palestinians that both think they should own the whole area. In their hearts, that's how they feel. Now, I'm going to summarize it this way. I'm going to bring it real simple for you guys. This is how I view it at the moment. My views change as I get more information. I'm not one of those people that's just stuck on their way of thinking. If new stuff comes to light, I always like to listen. But at the moment, when you ask Israelis, how did you want this to go? They said, look, we don't like them, but they were living there. We were living here. We should have figured out a way to get along. They're there. We're here. All right. They've done some stuff. We've done some stuff. They have a past. We have a past. Got it. But we're living here. They're living there. Let's just leave it alone. When I talk to people from Israel, I talk to the Jewish community, that's what they say. When you talk to Palestinians, they're like, kill all the Jewish people and let us have from the Mediterranean all the way to, excuse me, the river to the sea. Hold on a second. Do apologize. Their chant, they want from the river to the sea. They want all of it, and they want all the Jews killed. Do you see the difference there? The Jewish people say, 2 states, let's figure it out, live together, leave each other alone, even though they hate each other. The Palestinians say, 2 states not living together. We're going to kill all of you, and we're going to take over everything. Do you see the difference? That's a fundamental baseline right now, Michael Dawson. What about the Palestinians? Ask them, okay, if you want from the ocean to the river, what happens to the Jews? They turn and they walk away. They don't have an answer because they want them dead. If you leave everything just at that level, how would Israel like this to end up? How would Palestinians like this to end up? Only one of them agrees they should all find a way to live together, even though they don't know what that is. Every time a reporter or a person on campus brings up a cell phone and says to a Palestinian, to a supporter of Hamas, to a supporter of terrorism, what do you want to do if you had your way and you controlled the entire region? What do you do with Israel? What do you do with all the Jewish people? They either walk away, turn their back and walk away, or they say, they're all dead. Fuck them. Gonna kill them. So when someone says to me right now, especially after them attacking Israel, should we slow down? Should we consider their feelings? Yeah, probably not so much. Again, the one caveat is there are Palestinians that don't believe this hardcore left strategy of kill everybody, you're the only people that matter. Problem is, how do you tell who's who? I don't know. Not pretending I do. At the very basics of it right now, I get how both of you believe. I got it. And I'm all for Israel cleansing that whole area of terrorists that just want to kill people. They got to go. They don't fit. You can't act that way. You can't behave that way and then still be part of a rational society. So Israel can go in, get rid of all the bad guys, secure the border. Then they can. Then comes the discussion. What about everybody who's left? Now, then you could ask that question. Maybe Michael Dawson. Maybe just take a poll. Everybody who thinks Israel should die, raise your hand. Everybody who wants to get along, raise your other hand. Maybe then we'll know. But there's your call on that, Mr. Dawson. PayPal, $100 for Mrs. Ford to help with the cost of the switcher box thingy for the cameras. Oh, Mrs. Ford, we didn't do it. We didn't do a Bottom of the Glass Nation show, and we got all messed up. I'll try to show you. Let me see if I can here. All right, now this is going to show. We have other cameras. We got 6 cameras now. Let me see if you can figure out how to do it. Let's see. That's where the kid sits, and there's nothing there. All right. And there's where the kid sits and with me, so we can switch cameras. And then look, there's my bride, my blushing bride, and I see side by side there. And then we can go side by side here. See us? That's a good one. Now, the big one is this one up here. This is one of the new cameras. If you can see me waving my arms, I'm on this end of the screen. You can see my wife, see her there. And then guess what? It also shows the other end of the studio table where the kid sits. And at the bottom of your screen where there's an Xbox and a monitor because we're working on stuff, there's 2 chairs there where guests can be. This is actually a guest camera. And I think I have another angle here too. Yeah, look at that one. See? Hey, there you are. This will cover some of it too. the thing Mrs. Fort Watten's talking about is the thingy that that switches these HDMI cameras. We're still working on it. I love this shot the best because it shows the back of my computer with tape holding holding all my stuff together. You can't beat that picture right there. That's one in a million. All right. So there you go. Don't punch my wife in the marketplace or I'm going to kick the shit out of you. And I want Israel to cleanse the area of all terrorists, and then we'll worry about other people later. And everyone in my country who supports terrorism, remember this. I said this the other day to some friends of mine. When you attack Israel, you attack us. When you attack us, you're attacking me, and you have made an enemy for life out of me. I will never forgive you for what you've done. And I know I'm just a dumb fat mechanic in the middle of the desert and I don't count for anything, but I promise you, you have made an enemy for life. And anybody who supports the terrorism, that supports the rape, I don't care. I don't care if you walk around pretending it didn't happen. That's your problem. All right, we're moving on. We have stuff to talk about that isn't so. This is not so bad. I like this one. The U.S. military deploys a nuclear-powered submarine in the Middle East. And there's a big article and a lot of controversy over this. Okay, let's keep this really simple on why that even made headlines. Why is that a big deal? Well, it's real simple. All of the assets we have over there. They have a lot of protection, a lot of airplanes. Yes, could one aircraft carrier and all of its ordnance level a city? Sure. But it's a lot of work. It's more strategic. It's more defense and pinpoint offense stuff. I got it. But when you send a nuclear submarine with ballistic, they got 14 of them on there. They can turn your entire country into a parking lot. Now, let's be real. They already have fast attack subs over there. Carrier groups don't go without fast attack subs. We have every sonar buoy out there that we've been dropping for the past 3 weeks all over the Med. Everywhere that we can put one, we're paying attention to what's going on in the water. And the satellites and AWACS planes are all overhead, keeping perfect surveillance along with the drones. Everybody's unlocked. We know what you're doing. The little skirmishes are what they're fighting about now. But you guys decide to do something completely irrational. You guys choose to do something completely stupid. You now have 2 ballistic missile submarines over there that can turn your entire country into glass. We can just come in and pave over with asphalt and be the world's biggest parking lot. Yeah, that's why that's going there, because you can pinpoint strike pretty good. But when you got something like that, that is your ultimate deterrent. That's the way we fought the Cold War. The Cold War, the Russians, they knew that they would totally annihilate us. We know we could totally annihilate them. It was mutual self-destruction if you started a conflict. And it worked. We didn't have a war. The Cold War stayed cold for 40 years. That's what this is for. That submarine is there just for that purpose, to let them know, we're not fucking around. You don't take out I'm not going to say that's children-friendly program. Got to be careful here. All right. So yeah, we talked about, I was going to make this, I'll say this. You guys remember what we've been talking about for 2 years now. One of the things we're talking about in the public schools is how Generation Z comes along and they don't want to listen to the rhetoric. They don't want to listen to, I've used the example where I've heard kids in classrooms say things like, listen, I got you, global warming, climate change, I got it. Can we get back to English? This is an English class. What are you doing? Kids have actually been standing up to teachers in high schools all over the country going, okay, stop talking about your personal belief system here. Can we get back to class? It's happening. I told you the pendulum was swinging. And this morning I stumbled across a brand new posted today cartoon, and I wanted to share it with you. It just reminded me of what I've been saying for so long. Death to Israel, drag queen story, Hamas lives, little Russian logo. And what is the kid saying? When are you going to teach us math? This cartoon is exactly what I've been saying for 2 years now. And now it's the pendulum swing. This is a real thing. This isn't just me talking. I'm just casually observing and then sharing it with you guys. And now somebody way more important than me that can reach way more people than I can is doing it too. Oh, welcome aboard. I love seeing stuff like that. All right. Yeah, so I don't know what this is all about here. Let me see if I can figure out. We talked about this, how radical Democrat launches new attacks and brands Biden complicit. That's what the big push is right now. Biden did this. Biden did this. Biden did this. And the Democratic Party in my country is fractured. Not down the middle 50-50, but it's fractured enough where they may not be able to survive this. They may not be able to come together. It's too big of a divide. And so prominent Democrats turn on the squad for the genocide chant. They're turning on them going, look, you guys are way out in left field. We agree. The fringe left, the crazy left, the progressive left, but now you've gone too far. And they turned on her. So what was the other one? So now that they're turning on her and she is taking down Biden, she's blaming Biden. The squad is blaming Biden. The part of my country that is fractured and is anti-Israel is now becoming anti-Biden. And Biden's already a weak president. I mean, probably one of the weakest presidents I've ever seen in my life. He would need 100% support of the Democratic Party to maybe win an election. Now this fracture's come along. It's not going to end anytime soon. There's divisions in the party. They're infighting, and they are throwing bombs at each other in the House of Representatives and the Senate. So you know what they did? You read the top one? Kamala Harris reboot attempt fizzles. Do you know why? They know Biden's a sinking ship. Maybe they could save Biden if this thing with Israel hadn't happened, if there wasn't a division, but there is. They don't know what to do. So they look around. Who can they run? Who can they run against Trump? Or assuming Trump makes it. So somebody came along and said, well, let's rekindle this idea about Harris, Kamala Harris. Let's see if we can get some traction there. So for a month and a half, they put a lot of media, they put a lot of money, they put a lot of spin, and guess what? It went nowhere. Nowhere, nothing at all. Not even a little bit. It fizzled out. They're like, they understand that this division created by the situation in Israel is fracturing the Democratic Party. They don't have anyone to turn to. They can't rely on Biden. They try Harris, so they move right along. And then Biden comes out, and when they're pointing the finger at Biden, Obama comes out, and what does he say? Obama comes out and tries to fix it. Obama comes out and tries to smooth it over and says, "Okay, I know you're pissed at Biden. I know you're fractured, but let's be fair. We all did this. We are all complicit. Because if he can drag everyone into this, if he can blame it all the way back to the Reagan administration, if he can muddy the waters, he can come out and say, look, we've all had our part in, all of us have had a hand in, don't blame Biden. Come on, we've all done. No, it's not true. Name one thing that Trump did to cause this. Name one thing. What? Stands up for Israel? Changes some things around logistically over there? Geographically? Yeah. Built a big shiny building in Jerusalem? Yeah. The thing that every president promised they were going to do and never did, he did. You say standing up for Israel caused this, and you're a moron. No one did anything against someone by doing something for someone else. Obama coming out there and muddying the waters, he's forgetting about all the money he gave to them, all the restrictions he relaxed on all of the terror groups over there, including Iran. Remember the big plane full of money? Yeah, we all did. No, you did it. You're complicit. Everyone else is trying to fix it. You're fucking it up. All right, so where was I? There was more stuff in there. Now, I'm getting away. I promise you I'd get away from that. It's half an hour. I'm getting away from the Iran thing. It's making my blood boil, but give you my interpretation on Israel. I give you my interpretation looking at street level, nuts and bolts, looking at it like you guys do, like a dumb mechanic in the middle of the desert, and just kind of shining a light out there and seeing what's going on. All right. So here's other things in the news world. Let's move away from the Middle East. Let's go to some other stuff here. I like this. I told you this was coming. We talked about this a month ago. I warned you, and now they're actually building some of this stuff. They're going to stack people in airplanes. Look at that. That's like 3 or 4 rows deep. I don't know if I don't fly on planes. But if you guys who fly regularly are going to tolerate this, then they're going to do it. If they built a bunch of these planes and no one got on the plane, if no one would get on the airplane, they'd stop building it. But I think they're betting on the fact you guys are going to go. Remember, I don't fly, but they're betting on the fact you guys are going to go do this. And if that's the case, man, I mean, I'm not going to knock you. If that's the way you guys want to fly that way, it's okay. But I don't know. The argument is, and I've heard the arguments both ways, but one of the arguments is we cram together at sporting events, right? And we'll sit there elbow to elbow, crammed up pretty tight for, 4 or 5 hours, although it's outdoors mostly. I know some arenas, but it's a little bit different. But that's the thing, man, is they point to all the other times that we will be within, 6 inches of each other. How about go to the beach one time in the summer? Head out to Santa Monica or Zuma or go to Doheny when there's, 6,000 people crammed in one little section of sand. I don't know. They're saying you guys are going to go for this. So I don't know. We'll see. I told you about this. I warned you, and here they're building them now. Ah, my God. What else is in? Let me go between the sheets real quick. Make sure I didn't. Let's see. Stuart Bailey from the UK. Have you seen the video of the Russians attempting a test with their nuclear missiles, obviously without the warheads? One went widely off target and the other blew up after only a few feet. Well, but I think now, Stuart, I might be wrong on that. Wasn't that their supersonic missile they were trying to test? They got their conventional stuff down pretty well. It's just the hypersonic stuff, the super speed stuff. I think that's what they were beginning to test to see if they could It's very difficult to fire a missile that fast, that far. And everyone who is way smarter than me up in the military that I know that I've had conversations with has told me the same thing. It's one of the reasons they're not worried about China firing a missile, a carrier sinker, 4,000 miles, is because the logistics in transit of that missile being able to communicate with satellites, other ships, it can't break its chain of communication or it won't even come close to hitting its target. It's a very difficult thing. We have that same problem, only, we've ironed out all the kinks in it, and we're very good at it now. We've tested it, we can do it. They have not. They just say, look, we got this really fast missile that it can sink your carrier. Everybody in the Navy that I've talked to says, go ahead and try. Look at the interview we did with the Marine last month, and we posted that interview, and he said the same thing. He goes, yeah, good luck. What happens if we take out one of their satellites? Now what do? Now they've broken that chain of communication. I think Russia's the same way. They have to rely on a lot of things to... You can't just strap on a GoPro and a GPS on the front of the missile and tell it to go. You can't and have it hit something. It's not that simple. You can't strap on a cell phone with Google Maps and go, take me here, and Google Maps will guide the missile there. It's not quite like that. So I think that's one of the ones they were testing, is they were testing more of the, can we fly it super fast and get it where it wants to go? The old conventional stuff they've got down. But then again, those are launched much closer, submarines, big, huge airplanes floating over the Arctic, stuff like that. So and I could be wrong on that, but that's what I remember. All right. Where was I? Yeah. So this guy comes on there, and he's the Target CEO, and says, this is what he says. You ready? Shoppers are pulling back even on groceries. Man, we thought this LGBTQ pride stuff was over. We ripped all of our stuff out of the stores, man. Let's go back to the way things were. Can't we all just get along? And how long has it been? And they're still suffering. Now they're suffering in grocery sales. Do you know why? People aren't going in the store anymore. Not as many people go into Target. They're still shopping there. They're still a profitable company. They're not going anywhere. But the idea is, if it's hitting his bottom line enough to where he comes out on TV and goes, I don't understand. I can understand the retail, the clothing part, because we put out LGBTQ stuff in clothing. I got it. You guys are pissed. You guys are mad. You're not buying clothes. What's going on with the groceries, though, man? What did groceries ever do? Should be a T-shirt with a big Target logo. It says, what did groceries ever do? I'd buy that if I was drunk. Anyway, so the idea is that it's simple as not as many people going in the store. They're just like, yeah, I'll go someplace else. I'll go to Vons. I'll go to Safeway. I'll go to Albertsons. They just pick a different place to go. Why? Because they don't have to go to Target. That's the one thing that everybody has to realize. You don't have to go there. You do something stupid with Bud Light, there's other beers to buy. You do something stupid at Target, there's other places to get your groceries. But it's amazing. This guy, when you get the top guy to get on TV, there's an issue. He's trying to calm shareholders right now. And it's still happening. This article just came out. I'm telling you. So here's one I ran across that I kind of was in a little bit of disbelief. Texas Instruments breaks ground on greatest single economic investment in Utah history. Now, they're building semiconductors. Why is that a big deal? Well, it's a big deal for a few reasons. Number one, what was Trump always saying? What were common sense people in America always saying? We need to build more of our baseline semiconductors and electronics here. We need to have more of our medicines and drugs produced here in the country. We do not need to be reliant on everybody. And now there's some signs, some things are changing. They're turning around and we're starting to build some factories to do some of these things. Why? Because we want to be self-reliant. We want to drill for our own oil. We want to produce our own medicine. We want to make our own electronics. That way, if everybody gets pissed off at us, we're not in a chokehold. We're not behind the 8 ball as we negotiate. The thing that struck me first about, I got to be honest with you, Texas Instruments breaks ground. Texas Instrument, are they still around? I thought, I don't know how many of you guys remember this. Now, if you're older like I am, Texas Instruments back in the late 70s and early 80s was the thing. If you had something I even wanted a Texas Instruments calculator. I told my mom, you're going to buy me a calculator for school next year. Make sure you get one that says Texas Instruments, because it was just the name. Then it became not the name, and the B-1 bomber, every news story that came out is like, well, the B-1 bomber isn't going to fly quite right. It can't do what it's supposed to do. Texas Instruments really has all the electronics all messed up for like 3 years. That's all. And if you heard any story about the B-1 bomber for a couple of years, it was always about Texas Instruments doing something wrong. Now, I don't know if they did or not. Maybe that was a bullshit story. I don't know. I was a kid. I was very, very young. But that's what stuck in my head. And then Texas Instruments wasn't computers. It wasn't calculators. I didn't even know they were still in business until I just saw this article here. So that's good on two fronts. A, they're still around. And B, they're going to build semiconductors in Utah. And it's a good thing. I don't know if you guys knew about that or not. This one here, I want to tell you, sometimes I bring up an article and I tell you I didn't even click on it because it's bullshit. I didn't even click on the article. I already know the lies. I already know what's going to be said. I'll just show you the highlight. I'll show you the headline. I'm not clicking on it. I already know what's going on. And a lot of us see that. A lot of us, you guys can see an article and go, I'm not even going there. I already know the bullshit. I already know. So you skip it. This is not one of those. I didn't read this article. I didn't click on this thing. I copied the headline for you, and I think it's going to be obvious. Bump, 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 bump. The article said 3 ways to not fall prey to online cockfishing, according to a psychologist. And there's a picture of a chick in bed on her phone. I have no idea what that is. I'm hoping that I'm glad I don't know. I'm hoping I can one day say I'm very proud that I did not know what that was. This was a headline. This was on a headline on a news page, scrolling down like in the top 10 articles. I did not click on it. I have no idea what's going on. That's as far as I got. This was not one of those, well, I don't even need to click on that article. I tell you all you want to know about cockfishing. I'll bring you the truth on cockfishing. I have no idea what it is. If any of you want to go further with that, you go right ahead. Also, do you guys remember we talked about a test that the kid and I ran? And you guys do this all the time. It happens to you all the time. You talk about, or you look up something on your phone. You're like, oh, I'd like to buy a bicycle with red handlebars or something. And then within half a day, every ad you see on everything, whether you're on HBO, whether you're on Disney Channel, just scrolling through your phone, it's always, would you like to buy a bicycle with red handlebars? And you're like, fuck, I looked it up one time. Now that's the advertising you get for the next month. All right. I've come to terms with this, that's how that works. If you mention something, my wife and I can sit in the studio in front of Alexa and we could talk about a bicycle with red handlebars. Just talk about it. But Alexa can hear you, and the next thing you know, you're getting ads about a bicycle with red handlebars. All right. I've accepted that role in my life, that robots are paying attention to everything I say. But here's what I don't get. If you're looking at something and you're thinking about buying something, and then you buy it. This best capture card, this is an Elgato capture card, HD 60S Plus. It's something I had to have. It's something that we needed here. It's complicated on why we had to have this specific one, but we did. So I looked around and I looked around and I looked around and I looked around. I finally found one for about $270, so I bought it. What is the point, you might ask? I'm glad you asked that question. If Google and the AI world, if robots can pay attention to what I'm thinking and talking about and constantly give me ads because they're so clever, how come they're not smart enough to know that I've already bought one? How come they don't know that I've already made the purchase? Now stop showing me the fucking ad. Let's go back to bicycles with red handlebars, because if you guys are paying attention at all, which clearly you are, why am I still getting ads for something I've already purchased? I'm not talking about it anymore. Somewhere, someone should report to everybody. All right, everybody, the general bought one. He got his Elgato HD 60. All right, stop with the ads. Everybody stop. Everybody just calm down. Just stop. We'll go back to bicycles and red handlebars. How come they don't know that? They know when I'm thinking about something before I even look. I could literally have a dream about something in the middle of the night. I wake up, it's the first ad on my phone, something I dreamt about. That's pretty good. That's deep. But you're not smart enough to know when I've already bought something? Bunch of milky licking, rope sucking. All right, let's go back to what we're saying. Let's look between the sheets, see if there's something mess over here. James Wild, member for 2 months. Welcome, he's an extra. I hope you guys welcomed James when he came by. I didn't see it because remember, if I'm talking here, I'm telling a story up here. I can't read what's going on over there. That's up to you guys to make someone feel welcome. Jane Mott's, member for 2 months. People here in the UK can barely afford groceries. The household expenditure is sky high at the moment. Yeah, Jane, we thought we were the only ones who fucked ourselves on that. It's bad. My wife is on a grocery budget every month. We do that. We impose these things on ourselves, a budget for utilities and bills and groceries. So we try to stick to them as much as we can. And my wife will tell you that the money she's allotted every month for groceries doesn't even come close to what it did a year ago or 2 years ago. Not even close. It's horrible, horrible, horrible. Justin Ride, member for 2 months, Canada, where inflation is so high it costs you $26 for 5 boneless chicken breasts. I'm deferring to you. Is that a lot?
Yeah, chicken used to be the cheapest.
Really, chicken was the cheapest?
Yeah, now it's like even with meat practically, and even meat's going up. Yeah.
Wow. You can talk a little more towards the microphone. I didn't know what you were saying. Is that a lot for?
It is a lot. That's a lot. That's like what meat was a while ago, and now meat's going up. It's really expensive, and that probably isn't like what we're trying to eat.
What's the biggest change you've seen in grocery increase in the last 2 years? Like you just look at it and go, holy shit.
The basics: milk, bread. Our basics, eggs. I don't have to buy eggs as long as the chickens are doing it, but just our basics. It's almost to a point where it'd be better to go back to making bread. Like flour is cheaper, but
that's a lot of work though too. I mean, it may be worth it, but it is a lot of work.
But meat is going way off the chart. Yes.
Well, there you have it. Talking to the lady of the house, she knows, and she's agreeing with you. With both of you, Jane, now it's Jan, and now it's Jane, not Jan, and Justin. Adam Pedley, I think when the Ukraine war is over and Ukraine has the Russia oil fields, they should be allowed to keep it. Yeah, that always bugged me about the war in Kuwait. We went in there and liberated Kuwait from Iraq. And I think before we even went in there, we should have gone over there and said, look, we're going to come in here and we're going to kick Iraq out. We're going to free your country again. But I think the price for that should be, 50 oil wells, and we just get them for the rest of our lives. If that's fair to you, it's fair to us. Just shake on it and we'll come over there. I don't want to take them. I don't think we should seize them. I think that should have been part of the agreement. It's like, look, man, how about these 50 oil wells right over here? We'll just take these. They're right near their water. We can pull up some super tankers and fill up our stuff. That's the cost, and we'll just keep it that way. And if anybody invades you again, we'll come back. Why wouldn't they have agreed to that? Why? That's how stuff in my neighborhood gets handled. You do for me, I do for you. I'll trade you this, I'll trade you that. How come it can't be like that? Why is it so noble for us to spend all of our tax money, all of our dollars, all of our money? We get taxed and taxed and taxed, and it goes to all these other countries. Is there ever a country that gives money back to us for all the shit we do for you guys? Is there any? There should be no more money going out. It should all be coming in. Everybody should be knocking on our door with a big bag of cash going, hey, protect us. Help us. That's the way it should be. Well, it's just my opinion. I'm a dumb mechanic. What do I know? Not much. VCMD propulsion. And now you can't even get a hot rod part in California. Nothing newer than 1965. We already have smog after 75, so what gives? I know. My biological father, Wild Bill, used to tell me, he says, he very clearly, he said, it's going to happen. California going to ruin everything. The only time you're going to be able to drive your car is in a parade on Sunday. And that's only if you got a permit. Otherwise, keep your car in your garage. Don't start it up. Don't warm it up. Don't run it up. You're going to get smog in your garage. Somebody's going to come tell on you and shut your garage down. But the only time you're going to be able to drive your car is in a parade on Sunday. That's it. That's what he used to tell me. Does it sound like we're getting there? It sounds like we're getting there to me. All right, don't think he was full of great advice all the time. He was not. He was an idiot for a lot of stuff, but that one I think was kind of funny and telling. All right, so where was I? I was in the middle of stuff. What, you guys want to go back and see the big camera again? There's the big camera. Look at that. KGXT Studios, it's coming along. Pictures on the wall. I don't know if you guys can see over here. Look at where my hand is waving. Do you see the black square on the table above the KGXT sticker? That is actually vinyl from my wife. She had that part of her. What was that again? What machine are you using that for? Cricut or something?
Yeah, the Cricut.
And that is
permanent vinyl.
Permanent vinyl. Does it say what it goes on?
Pretty much anything except T-shirts.
Except T-shirts. Okay.
It's not an iron-on. It's permanent vinyl is what they call it.
So she comes out. She had a piece of that 12 by 12 or whatever that is, 14 by 14, and she put it on the wood. She cleaned it off and put it on the wood table there. And it's held up. It hasn't bubbled. It hasn't peeled. So now she's going to order a ton of it. So everything you guys see out here that is wood. It looks like pine wood to you. This is all built by Lionheart. We are going to take everything off of this, roll it out, get out all the bubbles, glue it to the table, and it'll all be black. That'll hide some of the mess too. It won't look so bad with the cables and whatnot. But when it's all done, this will even be wrapped around the edges and the sides nicely. This is the way we've decided to go. So we're going to do the whole thing in that. That's one thing just to share with you. Not that you care. I know it's the world show and you guys don't care about that as much as some do, but I thought I'd let you in on that. All right. So where was I? Boom, 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 boom. Gato. I don't know why I put this in there. It was a meme on there. Mama didn't raise no two-trip loser, but I used to get mad at the kids when they'd carry in all these groceries because my older boys would have a tendency to drop the bags. They'd rip and tear. And I used to remember screaming at one time. My wife literally pushed me up against the wall and was in my face going, "You did the same thing. You didn't want to make 30 trips to the car." We had 8 kids. We had 8 kids and my brother living here. Can you imagine the groceries we went through? We were at $800 like a week in groceries with 11 people living in this house. So when you went to get groceries, there was, 87 bags. And then the kids would bring them in like this. I'm sure it's like this all over the world. You can't tell me that back when we could afford groceries, you can just carry in 3 bags and you're set. But back in the day, this had to be similar to everything. All right. I'll go back. I will digress, and let's go between the sheets. Let's finish some stuff out here. Mr. Flibble, how do you feel about Mike Johnson admitting to debating porn with his son? I don't know. Stuff like that, I think stuff like that you should keep in your family. I don't think you should make that a public stage. It's funny when a liberal, a Democrat in my country, speaking for my country, has a Republican in their sights, all bets are off. You could talk about their kids. You could talk about their wife. You could talk about anything you want. They say, well, he's a public figure. His past is open. As soon as you run for office, everything is fair game until the tables get turned. And when you have a liberal Democrat in your sights, they always say, well, you know, some things are private and some things are family matters and some things are best left to be inside. Would you want all of your things exposed? It's very funny how in my country, that's 100% how they do it every single time. I don't care. I'm not going to get in the way on how a guy raises his kid or what he talks about. I'd prefer it not to be on an open mic at an event. I'd rather that not happen. But if he's going to talk about stuff with his kid, talk about stuff with your kid. I told you guys this when Trump was running for office and everything, what a terrible person Trump is. And all of these things you alleged he did. Some he did do. Some of it you guys made up. I didn't care. I didn't hire that guy to be my best friend. I hired him to fix my country. If I have a guy come out here and build a second story on my house, and he's the best contractor in town, he's got a good, fair price, he does a great job, and I find out he's an alcoholic, I don't care. I don't care. Just build the second story on my house, then go away. Fix my country and move on. Become Speaker of the House, straighten shit out, then go do what you want to do. I'm not here to just fix do your job, man. That's how I feel about that kind of stuff. I don't like it when they do it to Trump either, or to Biden either. It's like, well, it's this, and it's like just who cares about it? I don't care that he fell on his bicycle. Remember when he fell on his bicycle? Everyone laughed. All the conservative Republicans, I felt bad. It's like some old dude fell on his bicycle. What's funny about that? Well, it just shows the overall state of the country. Oh my God, really? Now the country's fucked up because an old guy fell on a bike? What the fuck is wrong with you people? But I find less and less that I'm the only person who can just see straight down the middle. If it's stupid and fucked up, I'm going to tell you it is on either side. You can't do that. You're not like that. You're very one-sided. I'm just saying. I'm not speaking about you, Mr. Flibble. I love you. You know I do. But I'm saying the Democrats, the media, that's how they operate. I'm sure it's like that in every country. So let me ask you this. This is something I want to ask about. Maybe this can make its way to the sheets. I will try to bounce into the comment section a little bit here. Wait, what was that? Adam Pedley, it's called rampant consumerism. They expect the product you just bought to fail within a short period of time, and you have to buy a new one. Adam Pedley, isn't that true? You know what just popped in my head when I read that was my daughters. My daughters were all teenagers at the same time. They were all from like 19 to like 14, right in that time, and that drove me fucking crazy. But you know what they all said? They had the same mentality that Adam just said right there. Dad, you need to get a new refrigerator. Why? This one's just, Dad, it's old. It's like 3 years old. I said, yeah, it's 3 years old. The refrigerator. She goes, I know. My daughter's it's time for a new one. Dad, you got to get a new fridge. This one's 3 years old. Get another one. They did that with televisions. If I had a TV in the den and it was on all the time, and they said, Dad, you just got to get, the speakers don't sound right anymore. And it just isn't, it's an old TV. It's not a smart TV. You know, smart TVs were, Dad, this TV's like 3 or 4 years old. You got to get another one. They constantly told me that I had old stuff in my life. Then when they went to my mother's house, my parents' house, and I told my dad the story about that. He sat them and stood them around his refrigerator that he had since 1978, the same refrigerator, and said, I haven't had to buy a refrigerator because they knew how to build shit back then. He's right. Now, I didn't care for the avocado green color necessarily, but that's not the point. But my daughters were like that. They would, if they had a curling iron and they couldn't curl their hair right after 6 months, they would tell me the curling iron was bad and they wanted a new one. Or if their friends got a newer curl, I remember these stories are all coming back. That's what they did. Now please tell me, this isn't just my problem. This isn't just an American problem. Please raise your hand somewhere and tell me that teenager daughters in Ireland or Germany or France, please tell me that they're the same. Please tell me I'm not the only one suffering this, because then if that's true, then I did something very wrong. But he's right. It's that type of mentality. All right. Then what else was there in here? Men buy function and women buy fashion. Mr. McKinnon, here, sir. Here. Angus MacGyver, remember for 2 months, Gen X needs to step up and fix what the boomers effed up and stop the millennials from taking over. Wow, there's a lot to unpack in that one. Angus MacGyver says Gen X needs to step up and fix what the boomers fucked up and stop millennials from taking over. Well, boy, where are you going with that one? First of all, what did the boomers mess up? I'm just asking. I'm not going to assume that I know. I'm not going to give you the words. You have to tell me, because mostly what my millennial sons complain about with boomers is real estate. And it's always, did you know, Dad, that back when Grandma and Grandpa could buy a house, it was like 2 years' salary equaled the price of a middle-class house. Now it's like 10 or 12 years' salary. Prices have gone through the roof. Well, how is that boomers' fault? Don't buy it then. If boomers are holding on to all this real estate and millennials are saying that's way too expensive, you're screwing us, don't buy it. Don't buy it. They'll have to lower the price. It's supply and demand. It's capitalism. It's how it works. But if you buy the house, if one of you buys the house, then the next person is going to buy the next one and the next person, then the prices keep going up. You can't blame boomers. They want to get as much as they can for the house. Don't buy it. If everybody collectively quit going to Target would straighten their shit out. If everybody quits buying Bud Light, eventually they're going to straighten their shit out or go broke. If you quit buying overpriced houses, the prices will come down. But you won't. You're just going to keep paying those exorbitant amounts of interest rates and monthly payments and paying 4 times what the house is worth, and then you're going to complain that someone made you do it? Now, I'm not sure if that's where he was going with this, but I've heard this argument a ton of times. GX Patrick, for $5, turn my whole screen green. Gen X fixed the only thing we cared about. We made weed legal. By the way, you're welcome. Yeah, GX Patrick's like, hey, we took care of some shit. We made weed legal. Everybody's cool with it now. There's no stigmatism to it. By the way, you're welcome. Oh, my God. That was funny. Looking over between the sheets, I'm getting yelled at over here. I did Angus MacGyver's Dean Vincent music. I heard California was talking about stopping trains from bringing freight into the state unless it was an electric or zero emissions train. No, they're not doing that. They've been talking about that, but that's only if they get the network of electric trains up and running, then they can phase out all the other stuff. They're still having trouble doing that with diesel. They put such heavy regulations on diesels, big tractor trailer rig setups in here, that a lot of people just left the state. So I'm not going to deliver products anymore. I'm not going to haul freight in California. It's too restrictive. It's too hard. There's 49 other states I can haul to. Well, not Hawaii. 48 other states I can connect with. I don't need to go to California. It's true. So what happens to the people that remain? All of our prices go way up because of the CARB regulations. It's insane. But remember, this all eventually will implode on itself. Eventually, you cannot sustain this forever, and it will implode. If I'm here when it happens, I'd very much like to see the result on the other side. There's going to be some suffering that goes through it. That's one of the things that bothers me whenever liberal Democrats begin to run us over a cliff. Here's a better example. They take a big ship that is the United States, big cruise liner, and the liberal Democrats get in charge and they run it full speed right at the rocks. Because you can't sustain what they spend. You can't do it. Then a conservative Republican gets in office and begins to turn the ship around. Can you turn a ship around on a dime? No. Can you turn a ship around that's doing, 30 knots one direction? Can you pivot it and be going back the other way in 6 minutes? No. It takes time to turn a big ship around. It takes time to turn the economy around. It takes time to turn the country around. And it's going to hurt. Imagine if you guys had a home budget and every month you were spending a little bit more on your credit card, a little bit more on your credit card, a little bit more on your credit card. You knew that sooner or later you were going to run out of credit card and you were going to have to make some changes. It's going to hurt. Little Timmy's not going to go to baseball. You're not going to get Twinkies, Zingers, and Ding Dongs. You're going to have to cut back. It's going to hurt. It has to. Everyone at some point in their life has had to tighten their belt and had to suck it up. And you've made some cuts, you've made some sacrifices, and you turned your own personal family, your household around, and you began to turn that ship in a new direction, but it hurt, and it takes time. Same with the country. Why is that so hard to understand? I'll tell you why it's important. Because a grown-up is going to get in charge and go, okay, this is going to hurt. We're going to tighten up the budget. We're going to tighten up the spending. We're going to turn this thing around. And as soon as they do, the media comes along and goes, oh my God, you're hurting children. You're hurting old people. You're cutting Social Security. You're cutting welfare. That's all they do is point out that we have to tighten our belts. That we have. Now, I think there's other places to cut spending. Money going to foreign countries would be at the top of my list, but I don't know all the wherefores and what have yous. But the bottom line is there is no single one person that is going to be able to turn this country around, that is going to make the change without some things are going to hurt. Some things are going to tighten up a little bit. And be prepared. The media will pounce on that and like, oh, look what you've done. The world is coming to an end. No, it's getting better. Despite you. Just remember that. You keep it nuts and bolts. That's all we're talking about here. Keep things in perspective at a street level. Just look out your front door and see what's going on. It's not tough. That's one of them. All right. One more in the sheets. Mrs. Fort Watton, member for 1 year, gifted 5 Gen X Talks memberships. T.N. Berg, Janet Duding. We always argue. Janet Dudding, Janet Duding. Flatterson, Eddie Shelton, Don Key. T.N. Berg, new member. I work at Jack Daniels. Good. I'd like some green label, please. I can't get it out here. I had some snuck to me. I had 2 bottles snuck to me about a year and a half ago. I haven't had any since. But I would love some green label. The Shoeless One gifted 5 Gen X Talks memberships. Who got that?
I'll just say Brian Shell, Bigfoot, David Hemphill, Darth Mocker, and just moved just in time.
You know what's really funny, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but are you trying to have a really sexy voice on the World Show? Because you're being all soft and you're being all seductive, and it's like, save that for when we're all drinking on a Saturday night. This is the World Show. You got to have more of a secretary's voice, more of a newscaster. I'm just saying. But well,
the guy that worked at
Jack Daniels.
Jack Daniels said green label is impossible to find. We aren't running it anymore.
What?
He's sad.
There's not even. So now, unless there's some sitting on a shelf at a liquor store in Tennessee, hint, hint. Unless there's some sitting on a shelf, I'm never getting any again. I need to get a bottle of green label and not open it. Oh my God.
Life has come to an end.
Well, really, we're just signing off now. This is the end of this whole thing. I'm done. If there's no more green label, I have nothing else to live for. All right. So listen, I didn't do any of the housekeeping stuff. I didn't pay any of the bills. I didn't go down the thing of Patreon and all that stuff. I'm sorry. I did pin PayPal, but listen, you guys, I just needed to get some stuff out on how I felt about the personal side of the Israeli mess. I wanted to show you the lighthearted things that I ran across in my country. You guys are always asking me questions and emails and direct messages about what's going on in America, why this, why that. So I tried to cover some of that today. It's not complicated. It's pretty easy. And if you let yourself get all bogged down when they muddy the waters, you're never going to know which end is up. Keep it simple. And just remember, when you guys are looking at a situation, remember one thing. Your first reaction is usually the correct one. I know you can debate. There's things to learn in it, but usually your first instinct on something is right. Now you got to. There's facts that come along to prove and disprove, but remember, trust yourself. Okay, when you're looking at things like that, believe in yourself a little bit. All right, I got to get out of here. I got to go. I showed you the camera angles. We talked about the stuff. Most of it worked today. We didn't have huge problems. Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, wherever you go, there you are. And I don't know where you're tuning in from: AM, FM, Sirius XM, or perhaps on the Armed Service Radio Network. But I promise you one thing: I'll catch you guys on the flip side. That's right. I said it.